The first question is a good one. So dealing with financial restraints, or said significant constraints to the budget. I think what's lacking, not so much the city of Whittier, because I'll first and foremost say that we've clearly won an award for balancing our budget for 28 years. We know what we're doing. I'm not going to take that away. But it's being honest about what the numbers say. And I'm a firm believer that the numbers paint a picture. They're not just numerical values. They tell you a story as you go through things. My father was big on pushing me on that one, and I always used to say, you don't know what you're talking about. He did know what he was talking about. He was right. The numbers tell you what you can and can't do. It's okay, though, for numbers to tell you can't do something and then find a way to do it. So if we're running a deficit, a little under $3 million, we need to find a way to plug that up and get what we want. So I think as long as you keep your long-term objective in mind all the time, you can work with financial constraints across the board. But it's being realistic about them. And I think the city of Whittier has done a fantastic job in forecasting too. We know where we're going, we know the deficit that's coming, or the potential debt we're going to take on. I think we can correct it. So I don't think financial restraints are going to be an issue, honestly, because I think we'll have good council members there that are willing to push through it. It's funny, my first career I dealt with this, and as a teacher, I deal with this even more now. I think people have a problem with saying things that comes off as negative. They get scared, they get nervous that I'm saying something different than someone else, so I might as well not say it because I'm afraid to disagree, right? You've all felt it before. The problem is that we're looking at what the person is saying and what the person is as the same thing. I'm a big believer in restorative practices and restorative justice. And what that says is it separates the deed and the doer apart. So I can fix the deed because it's isolated, and I'm going to help the doer reintegrate back. So if you take that approach on issues that you may or may not agree with, I think you can get through them pretty easily, honestly, because I'm not attacking the doer, the person who's saying it. I'm just disagreeing with what is being said. And I think too often we blend those two together. So we disagree with the issue and we disagree with the person too. So it makes it a lose-lose. Where for my approach, if we can separate the two, there's no issue that you can't get through because the whole point is we're coming back together as a community, reintegrating, no matter who's making the decision. So I think I got a firm grasp on that, and I'd just be willing to sell that to my other colleagues on the council at the time. That this is a different way of looking at it, but it's very historically relevant. It's very communal, the way old tribes used to do things around the world. And I think we need to get back to that, right? We got to ditch the negativity. It's got to go. And just because people disagree with us doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It can be a good thing as well. So I actually look forward to that. And I think it would be pretty fun to engage with individuals of different mindsets. That's a pretty good question, though. Supporting businesses in Whittier. And I'll probably take a little more District 2 focus in Uptown Whittier businesses. So sorry, other businesses. I love you. I shop with you. But I'm really specifically for this answer, I'm going to focus on the Uptown businesses per se. I've already said in my platform, if you look at the webpage, one of my goals over the next 4 years, I want to get sales tax revenue to exceed 15 million. 2017 figures were just below 10 million, so I think we can get that up to 15 million with proper infrastructure coming in and helping businesses out. I did read in the economic development strategy for the city of Whittier from 17 to 18 put out. There's this unique concept in Uptown Whittier for Shop Whittier that there's a sales tax revenue sharing on a case-by-case issue with Uptown businesses. I think it'd be really cool if we were to do away with case-by-case and we were to offer some type of universal sales tax revenue sharing with all businesses in Uptown Whittier. Because Uptown Whittier to me is kind of like this mecca focal point of Whittier. Not so much for Whittierites, but for people that are coming from outside. And I've said it before, we're landlocked and we know that. So our revenue increase is going to come from individuals that are coming from outside of Whittier. We already know Whittier is the best. We're going to stay here. But we need more, so we want people to come in and enjoy that. So I think if you were to offer a little bit more revenue sharing on a sales tax base with Uptown businesses, you'd probably see more investment on their end, and I think you'd see the whole corridor in general grow a bit more organically. I really do. They'd be really excited to reinvest in the city even more because there is this profit sharing scheme that's going on back and forth. But we definitely got to invest in the businesses, we do, and we have to look at what the needs are in the future coming up within the next 2 years. So if we need businesses to stay open until 2 a.m., they need to stay open until 2 a.m. It doesn't mean we're going to have a bunch of drunkards in the city. It means that we're going to allow them to spend more time here, which as they spend more time, they will spend more, which means our revenue goes up. So we have to be honest and we have to look at things and support our businesses properly. But the driving force is going to be get the sales tax revenue up, and we're going to do that by supporting our businesses properly and what they need constantly. When we're talking about adding new spaces, the reality is if we look at the numbers from 2008, I believe, to 2017, we've stayed at 20 parks in Whittier, and our acreage has stayed at about 411 acres. I understand we have things like the Greenway Trail that have come in that have made that bigger. But my issue here is that if I don't live next to the Greenway Trail, or I don't live next to Hellman Park, I can't access it. Because the whole point of parks and communities is for you to be able to walk to and enjoy right on the corner. Things like that. All great cities in the world have it. And Whittier has great parks. We know that. If you're Whittier, right, we have fantastic parks from Penn Park all the way to Michigan Park. Even Uptown has its parks. Who doesn't love Central Park? However, I think as our population continues to increase, which it is, we're over 87,000 and we've come up each year, we need to be able to add the acreage to parks as well. Because parks are the place where communities really come together, where you meet people, you talk, you address little issues that you've heard about, and it's just a way for people to really get this communal bond. So if we're growing our numbers, I think there needs to be some metric, and I know there is, that will allow us to grow our parks as well. I know we hit that high density housing issue a lot and we beat it on the head, but maybe sometimes we need to scale back a little bit in that and make sure that we have parks and open spaces. And by open spaces, I mean just general open places for people to come and engage. Maybe places where they can kick a ball around, hit a ball, do something. But we just need more places where community can come together, where they don't have to spend money and they can just take a deep breath and enjoy themselves. That's a good question, because when you think about it, I mean, looking at Whittier, I hate to say this, but we kind of have everything we need when you look at it. We have golf courses, we have tennis courts, we have basketball courts, we have great universities, we have Uptown, we have movie theaters, we have top quality restaurants, great parks. It's hard to pinpoint what we really need in a development sense. I know we've heard many times, or we've heard, is parking structures, we need more of that because parking is becoming hectic, especially in Uptown. I agree with that. But for me, honestly, I think we need a big sports complex. We have a lot of houses that are coming in. We have a lot of families that are moving in. We need a place for everyone to go to. And I know sports is not that big for some people, but for a lot of families it is. So these multi-sport complexes that are coming up in other cities, I think it would be good to consider having that in a central location. I know Nellis maybe wasn't always agreed upon by everyone, but it would be nice at some point in there, maybe you did have multi-field, you had 4 different fields for people to come to and play that specifically is for Whittier. I think that would go a long ways, honestly, for development. But it's kind of a tough question because it's hard to say what we really, really need right now. Because I think we have a lot of what we need. We just need to perfect it and make it a little more adaptable moving forward. But for me, probably, yeah, it's going to be a community, big center, big park that we can have different sports that come to, and people can all come together from Whittier and play. I think that'd be a really fun development to be able to push. Okay, how do we address the need then for entry-level housing? If we look around, right, we see in California right now, and especially Southern California in general, we do have a shortage right now in inventory. It's kind of an issue. Our demand is way above what our supply is in terms of that. And I do think the city of Whittier has moved pretty well in terms of building new complexes to accommodate that. We've seen these luxurious townhome complexes going up, and the high density stuff is increasing. I'm not totally against that because obviously there's a need for it. We wouldn't put it up if there wasn't. However, I just wonder how much of that is tied to the price increasing astronomically. So I hate saying this because everyone's going to probably yell at me over it, but what if we did have some type of price ceiling or we had some rent control in there, right? A City of Whittier backed rent control that kept prices down to where people could actually afford to stay in. Simple rental complexes. And I understand entry-level housing, you know, the American dream is to own the house. That's a rough one for me because I don't know always if that's the American dream anymore or we can afford that right now. A lot of people. That's just a tough one to answer, so it'd probably have to be situational. I'd really have to look at that with other council members and really think long and hard about what it is. So I think that's going to take a lot of research to look at that. What really looks good for an entry-level housing as an option, because I don't know if high density either, though, is just the way to go, just to cram a bunch of apartments in, because there are a lot of things that are tied with entry-level housing and high density stuff. We're going to need more patrol, more people are in here, things like that. So it's definitely something that's going to have to be researched more and more, and I think we need to be confident saying that hey, look, we may not have the answer right now, but we definitely have to talk to some other business insiders. We got to talk to some economists about things. We really need to look at our city and see what that entry-level housing need really is. That's a tough one. Good question, though. So it's funny, out of all the 5 questions that have been asked, it took me getting to the 5th one to finally feel like I got this one. So what's going to be needed, I think, in the general plan moving forward for the city of Whittier is, you've seen my colors, right? The purple and gold. I'm a firm believer that we have to find a way to incorporate Whittier College in our community more and more now. When you look at it, we're a college town. I've been to games. No one shows up. Why? There's not this connection. Football games at Whittier College should be filled to the max with how many Pop Warner teams we have and how many people like football. We have a college team. Basketball games, softball, baseball, soccer, swimming, water polo, we're top ranked. People should go to these things. As well, Whittier College needs to be reaching out to the community even more in terms of internships, opportunities, plays. We have the Shannon Center. That really, to me, needs to be this priority put in our general plan, that we have to have them work together. I think if we can do that, we can sell a product. I've been to the Claremonts of the world, great universities, and they do a good job. It's not all about the college, but you do know you're in a college town when you drive through Claremont, especially certain areas. So I think if we can bring that cohesion, we can probably find a way to, one, drive revenue more, because we'll have more people coming in, and when they're here in Whittier, we know being landlocked, they will spend. So I think we need to find a way to bring that Whittier College and City of Whittier identity a little closer in line together. And maybe even the same thing with Rio Hondo, bringing all 3 of those triangularly together. I think that'd be a really good thing to see. So the general plan moving forward, I really believe we got to push that and drive it hard. And I think we can achieve it because we have top quality leadership in both organizations. So I'm excited for that, but that would be my big thing on the general plan moving forward. So at the end of the day, all candidates want to get to the end and say their speech, but I really enjoy answering your questions. Some of them are really hard to answer. Some I think are a little easier in that one, but what you get with my campaign, everyone's probably going to say you get something unique. I do think you get something different with me. They're great candidates. There are 5 of us. Either way, the city of Whittier is going to win. So we should feel good in that sense. With me, though, you're getting someone who's changing up the process, right? I don't take endorsements. I take 0 money. Because I really believe our political process has started to gone a little, or become a bit out of whack. I don't think, and being as a government economics teacher, looking at representative democracy, I don't think it should cost so much to run and to win. Because the whole point of elections is for you to come out and endorse, by voting, who you want, who you think is. I have a few mates in Afghanistan right now, actual Afghanis, and I'm telling you, these people would die to vote. And that sounds so cliche, but it's true. So the fact that we can have people here to vote for, 1, is awesome, but 2, it's just nice to change the political process back again to where it's not all about the money and endorsements. It's just about you. And reality is, and I mean this wholeheartedly, if you don't talk to me personally by the time April 10th comes around, please don't vote for me, honestly, because I haven't done my part then in reaching out. If I'm saying I'm truly representative of the city of Whittier, I should talk to every vote I get, hands down. And if I don't, that's on me, and I'm going to have to live with that. But with me, my platform, when you look at it, I've already said it's about Whittier College. I firmly believe that if we can bring those 2 units together, we can sell a good product in the city of Whittier, and we can make ourselves an even better city in that one. But I also believe, coming from my first career in intelligence, we have to be safe and secure first. Our crime index is way too low as a city right now. I believe we need to expand the Ganging Junction safety zone. We have to expand it to all of Districts 1 and Districts 2. We got to get police officers up to 130 sworn officers. Hands down. I don't care what the budget says, we're going to make room for it, and we're going to bring in revenue to be able to pay for that. Because in order for us to have a great uptown corridor, safe places to go, you have to be safe first. So in order for that to happen, we got to get those numbers up quickly. And you know what then? We need to come together as a city a bit more. When we have less than 20% show up to vote, we can't sit around and say that we're representative of our constituents. We have to get out and vote. So with my campaign, I'm pushing that. It may sound weird, but vote. If you don't like me, that's fine, but please vote at least, okay? There are other candidates. We all say different things, so please pick one of us and vote. The city of Whittier deserves to be represented fully. So I thank you for listening to this video, and if you have any questions, you can visit the website here. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as well. Come and look. I'm always insightful, always bring stories about. I just want to hear from you. So thanks again, guys, and have a good rest of your day.